debt-ridden lawyer, Lindsay, marries a billionaire, heir to save her grandma, but he flees the wedding without ever seeing her face. Fast forward 3 years, one wild one-night stand, and she's carrying his baby. She hides her identity and works under him, dodging his cruelty and his ex-deadly schemes. From fake bride to true love, watch him chase her back and finally walk down the aisle. For real this time. Hit play
Just
now.
When I was about to lose all hope, I ran into a hard chest around the corner. Please, please help me. My consciousness was fading fast.
You brought this upon yourself.
The next moment, I felt myself being lifted and then pinned down against a soft mattress. He leaned down and kissed me, and I lost all control. I woke up at dawn.
Should I recognize a party animal who drunkenly throws herself at the first stranger she meets?
If I hadn't accidentally saved Bryson's grandmother, I wouldn't have married him. The entire Higgins family regarded this marriage as a disgrace. On my wedding day, no one came, and the groom, Bryson, even fled the wedding on the spot.
It's not what you think.
Take the money and leave. Forget about last night.
I didn't explain to him who I was. I just smiled bitterly and
Of you. Rest assured, this is definitely a large order.
No problem. I'll take care of it. My parents passed away early, leaving me with a substantial debt. This case held absolute appeal for me in terms of financial value. I didn't want to have anything to do with this nominal husband, and my instinct was to leave. But if I could secure a partnership with the Higgs Group, it would be a major step forward in my career. So I sat down across from Bryson, without any awkwardness. Hello, it's great to see you again, Mr. Higgins.
Didn't I tell you to take the money and leave? Are you just continuing your harassment in a different way?
I'm afraid you've misunderstood. I'm here to meet a prospective client.
You just climbed out of one client's bed, and now you're already hunting for the next?
I'm a lawyer. I'm here to take on your customs case.
He thought I was the kind of lawyer who slept with clients to get cases. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Lindsay Wheeler. I've handled similar economic disputes and international trade cases. I am confident that I can win this for the Higgins Group.
You're quite confident.
Your lawyers looked at the wrong angle and hit a dead end. You need a fresh perspective.
You look quite professional and rigorous.
Pleasure working with you.
No need. I'm only choosing you because Asher recommended you. I've already prepared myself for a complete defeat.
You are really arrogant. If your legal team could handle it, Asher wouldn't have had to bring me in. Just wait and see.
A few days later, the customs seizure case went to trial. Bryson and Asher both came. This was my chance to prove myself.
Your Honor, according to the Customs Administrative Penalty Implementation Regulations, Article 328, Clause 14, this shipment fully meets the conditions for applying for a special import license. The evidence submitted by my client proves that the customs reason for seizure is invalid.
This court rules that the seized goods be released immediately, trade barriers be removed, and the Higgins Group receive corresponding compensation.
I told you she was good. Do you believe me now?
Her professional ability is indeed impeccable. But why does she also do that kind of business? How desperate is she for money?
I apologize for my earlier words. The Higgins Group needs talent like you. Join us as legal counsel. The salary won't be less than what you get from those sleazy clients. You won't need to look for another client anymore.
His words were laced with barbs, implying I relied on inappropriate personal connections to land clients. But I held my tongue. This job was everything to me. Besides, I didn't feel like explaining it. Looking forward to working with you. The moment our hands touched, I felt Bryson's fingers pause slightly. He frowned, as if savoring some familiar sensation. I quickly pulled my hand back, my heart pounding fast.
Have we met before?
No. Mr. Higgins, if there's nothing else, I'll be going.
I didn't dare stay another second. The corridor was dimly lit, and I just wanted to get out of this place as quickly as possible.
I hadn't taken a few steps when a hand suddenly reached out from the side and dragged me into a corner. It was Devin.
Miss Wheeler, we meet again.
Let go of me! Help!
Keep screaming for all I care. This bar is my turf. Even if you scream your lungs out, no one is coming to save you.
His face loomed closer, his alcoholic breath making me want to vomit it.
I am married to Bryson Higgins. Touch me, and he will make you pay!
Bryson Higgins? Stop lying. Someone of his caliber wouldn't even spare a glance at a woman like you.
His other hand began to reach for my chest.
She's telling the truth.
Mr. Higgins!
Get lost. Don't ever show up again.
Devin was so scared he went limp, then scrambled away. Only Bryson and I were left in the corridor, his gaze complex.
You said I'm your husband?
My mind went blank. I had blurted it out to save myself. Had I just exposed everything? No, I had to cover it up. I made that up. I was scared and said it to protect myself. You and I are just a one-night stand. There's no way we're married.
What exactly was she hiding from me? Did she know who I was and deliberately get close to me? That would be for the best.
He turned and left. I let out a long breath, relieved that my identity was still safe.
Who the hell is that woman? She said she was lying to Devin, but her eyes told me it wasn't that simple.
Mike, look into Lindsay Wheeler. I want to know who she really is. Also, find out if she's strapped for cash. Why would a top lawyer do that kind of business?
Yes, Mr. Higgins.
If she really is deliberately getting close to me,
I won't let her succeed.
Back home, I lay on my bed, lost in thought. As long as I didn't reveal my identity before the divorce, it would be fine. Once I finished working for the Higgins Group, earned the money, and paid off my debts, I would file for divorce myself. The next morning, I put on my business suit and walked into the Higgins Group building. It was my first day as their new legal consultant. The moment the elevator doors opened, I came face to face with Bryson.
Good morning, Mr. Higgins.
Do your job well. Don't even think about any funny business.
I swallowed the humiliation and clenched my fists. It was fine. I was here to work, not to be Mrs. Higgins. I was taken to the legal department. The department head, Eunice Sutton, was a shareholder's daughter, and rumor had it she'd been in love with Bryson for years. The way she looked at me was like I was an intruder.
The new girl? I'm Eunice Sutton, the head of the legal department. You can come to me with any questions.
I'm Lindsay Wheeler. I look forward to working with you.
Show her to her office.
Irene was a friendly girl. As she led me to my office, she whispered to me, "You'd better be careful. Yuna is not someone to mess with." Before I could answer, Yanis barged in with a stack of files. "This is the building materials case. The other side won't take our calls. If you can't finish it, get out." I took the case and found out that the person in charge would be at a certain restaurant tonight. I changed into casual clothes and went to the restaurant to confront him. Just as I was about to approach him, a hand grabbed my arm.
Lindsay? What are you doing here?
It was Felix Payne, my childhood friend. Felix was both surprised and worried to see me. He asked about my work at the Higgins Group, and I just said it was for a case.
I know that guy. Need some help?
I successfully arranged a meeting with him.
Eunice maliciously undercut our prices and falsely accused us.
I got the key information. Eunice was the real culprit behind the failed cooperation. I returned to the company. Eunice had already gone to Bryson to complain.
What's going on?
She couldn't handle the case, and she went to see the client without authorization, and that just made things even worse. I have a recording here. It's testimony from Larry Adelit, stating that Eunice's malicious undercutting was what caused the cooperation to break down.
After listening to the recording, Bryson's face darkened.
I've learned about this matter. I'll handle it later. You go out first.
The office was left with just the two of us. My heart was pounding wildly.
Why did you lie to me?
What?
Did you come to the Higgins Group for some other purpose?
He wasn't asking about my identity. For my career development. What other reason would I have, Mr. Higgins? He leaned in, the distance unnervingly close. I nervously stepped back and bumped into the...
Watch out.
He reached out and steadied me by the waist.
Bryson, I'm back!
It was Kathy, Bryson's ex-girlfriend. 3 years ago, Bryson's mother had used money to force her to leave the country. Now she returned.
Am I interrupting something?
Why are you here?
I'm back. Let's start over.
I took the chance to exit the office. The door closed, and still, Bryson said nothing. I stood outside the door, my heart feeling heavy. I just wanted to work hard and earn my due compensation. I had no interest in getting involved in their affairs. News of Kathy's return spread throughout the company, and Eunice became even more hostile towards me. "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there." Squirting coffee spilled on my hand, but Eunice only pushed further. "What, not happy about it? You think cozying up to Bryson will let you get one over on me? If you keep acting this way, I'll report your other mistakes in the case to Bryson."
You bitch!
I turned and left with my coffee, thinking that fighting back actually felt good. The Higgins Group and the Swain Group had a collaboration project that required a business trip to Chelsea.
For this business trip, Lindsay will come with me.
"Let me come with you."
We used to travel for work together, remember?
No, Lindsay is more suited for this project.
I noticed the resentment in her eye. After work, I saw Kathy and Eunice talking in a corner. They spotted me and immediately split up. I felt a sense of unease, not knowing that I had already become a target. Back home, I packed my suitcase. My phone buzzed with a message from Bryson.
See you at the airport tomorrow, 7 a.m.
I stared at the screen, my heart inexplicably racing. For this business trip, it would be just him and me. I met Bryson at the airport. The two of us were going on the business trip alone. We arrived in Chalcity and had a dinner meeting that night with the partner, Perry Dixon. Perry was a lecherous middle-aged man who kept toasting me. Bryson blocked the drinks for me.
She can't drink.
I never expected that someone who had abandoned his wife at a wedding could be so gentlemanly towards other women.
Mr. Higgins, you really know how to take care of the ladies.
While Bryson was on the phone, Perry poured me a glass of wine.
What's going on? So hot.
As my consciousness faded, Perry's men dragged me into a hotel room.
I despair. I heard someone kick the door open.
Let her go!
Bryson knocked out Perry's men and lifted my burning body into his arms. He grinned his teeth as he looked at me.
So hot. Please help me.
Bryson carried me into his hotel room and laid me on the bed. I unbuttoned my collar, and his gaze fell on the area below my collarbone. There was a small red mole there. He suddenly froze.
Who are you? Why do you have the same mo as my wife? And I always have this inexplicable sense of familiarity with you.
He cupped my face. My consciousness was hazy, and I only mumbled about the heat.
Lindsay, answer me.
I only felt one thing. Heat. Burning heat.
Forget it.
He didn't press further. Instead, he carried me into the bathroom.
You didn't touch me?
No.
He turned around and stared at me.
You have a mold under your collarbone. Were you born with it?
My heart nearly stopped. He nodded. Yes, I was born with it.
My wife has one too.
I knew Bryson had never seen his wife, only knew some of my physical asterisks.
Don't tell me this is a coincidence.
The renegade admitted everything would be over. I found out what your wife looks like, and I deliberately got a matching one. I want to be your wife.
What did you say?
I like you. So I found out what your wife looks like and got a tattoo of the same mole. I thought maybe someday you might take a liking to me.
You want to be Mrs. Higgins that badly? I don't even want my own wife, let alone a scheming woman like you. Do your job well. Stop dreaming.
He slammed the door and left. I collapsed to the floor, exhaling. Tears somehow fell from my eyes. I didn't sleep well all night. I felt that Bryson's gaze toward me had changed. At the contract signing the next day, Perry, feeling guilty about what he had done last night, offered us an extra 2%.
Mr. Higgins, as a gesture of good faith, we're willing to concede another 2%.
I calmly reviewed the contract, page by page, word by word. Then, I found a problem. Wait, there's a problem with this clause.
What problem?
You hit a trap clause in the appendix. Once triggered, the Higgins Group will receive no benefits at all.
How could you pull such tricks? The cooperation is over.
No, Mr. Higgins, let's renegotiate the terms again!
Perry begged for mercy, and I took the opportunity to propose redrafting the contract.
Mr. Higgins, is there something on my face?
No. You did a good job.
The contract was successfully signed. On the way back to the hotel, the atmosphere was suffocating.
You have the same name as my wife.
There are many people with the same name as me.
But you're the only one working at my company.
I quickly changed the subject. Isn't Kathy in the hospital? Aren't you going to see her? Not long after we returned from the business trip, Kathy came to the company. She hooked her arm through Bryson's, as if announcing her presence to the world.
Bryson, I miss you. You haven't come to see me these past few days.
Watch your behavior at the company.
Kathy's expression flickered for a moment, but she quickly put her smile back on. She turned and saw me. You're Lindsay? I've heard of you. Bryson's new assistant? Legal consultant. Oh, right. Legal consultant. Bryson used to hire lawyers for me too, but that they were all too rigid, as if reminding me that she appeared in Bryson's life long before I did. Lindsay, are you married? A beautiful woman like you must have many suitors. I am married. Really? Then your husband must be very outstanding. Unlike me, after going through so much, I still think Bryson is the best. As she spoke, she leaned closer to Bryson.
Kathy, are you done? I have a meeting to attend.
Then have dinner with me tonight? We haven't had a meal together in a long time.
We'll see.
Kathy shot me a triumphant look. The message in that look was clear. See? He's still mine.
Mr. Higgins, I put the meeting materials over here. I turned and walked away, my steps steady, but my heart in turmoil. Every word from Kathy pierced me like a needle. The news of Kathy's visit spread quickly throughout the Higgins group, but what gave me even more of a headache was Eunice.
I hear that Lindsay and Mr. Higgins shared a room on their business trip.
Really? Isn't she married?
Some people act all proper on the outside, but behind closed doors, they're experts at seduction.
This wasn't the first time she had said something like this. I used to tolerate it, but now I didn't want to anymore.
What? Did I say something wrong?
Eunice, I'm warning you. My relationship with Mr. Higgins is purely professional. If you spread another rumor, I'll hand the evidence over to the legal department.
What evidence do you have?
I've recorded what you just said. Defaming a colleague, leaking company secrets. How do you think Bryson will handle it?
You wouldn't dare!
The colleagues around also fell silent. Try me. I turned and left. For the first time, I felt that fighting back felt really good. I thought Eunice would back off, but she didn't. She ramped up the rumors about me and Bryson at work.
Eunice, come to my office.
A few minutes later, we heard Eunice's scream.
How could you do that to me? My father is a shareholder!
Defacing a colleague and leaking company secrets, is that reason enough?
Eunice was dismissed. The legal department fell silence. I looked at Bryson and thanked him quietly. Thank you.
I just did what was right.
Just when I thought I could breathe a sigh of relief, a familiar figure walked in.
Lindsay, I'm here!
Callie?
What are you doing here? I'm starting work as Bryson's assistant. My brother-in-law is so handsome!
I quickly covered her mouth. Bryson raised an eyebrow.
She knows you?
Yes, that's right.
Bryson, she is Callie!
I'm her cousin. I worked abroad before. Right, Kaylee?
Callie paused and gave a nod. Bryson's gaze toward her became scrutinizing. My heart was about to jump out of my throat.
Sit. Did your cousin really work abroad?
Yes, that's right.
Which country? What kind of work?
England. She's a translator.
What's her name?
Lindsay, don't you already know that?
I'm asking for her maiden name. Her full name before marriage.
Callie panicked completely. She stammered and couldn't speak.
About 10 minutes later, Callie came out, her face pale.
What did he say to you? He asked for your maiden name. What did you say? I said I didn't know. Lindsay, does he suspect something?
You didn't tell you who I am, right?
No! I swear I didn't!
I breathed a sigh of relief, but the unease in my heart only grew stronger. Bryson wasn't a fool. He would find out the truth sooner or later. I thought the hardest to deal with were Eunice and Kathy, but I was wrong. The hardest was Bryson's mother, Chloe.
Who is Lindsay Woyler?
I am. Hello, madam. So it's you. The woman who seduces my son? Mrs. Higgins, my relationship with your son is purely professional.
Professional? Do you take me for a fool?
Look at you, dressed like that. You're just here to seduce men. Colleagues whispered among themselves. Mrs. Higgins, please mind your words.
What? Did I say something wrong? Bryson is a married man.
And you, a married woman, have no shame!
Mom!
What are you doing?
I'm helping you get rid of this shameless woman!
That's enough. She's my employee and also my... Please, just go home.
Chloe was driven away by her son. Bryson turned to look at me.
I'm sorry. My mother...
It's fine. She's right, I really am a married woman. His expression froze. I turned and walked away, not wanting him to see the tears in my eyes. After Chloe's visit, things became awkward between Bryson and me.
Professional? Do you take me for a fool?
He no longer sought me out as often, and I didn't go to him either. One day, he called me on the office line.
Lindsay, come in for a moment.
I walked into his office. He sat in his chair, looking at me.
Is the divorce my mother mentioned real?
I was silent for a few seconds. Yes, it's true. The whole company knows about your divorce. Before Unia left, she was already preparing your divorce agreement.
So?
I took a deep breath, pulled a document from my bag, and placed it on his desk. I've drafted the divorce agreement for you. Take a look. If there are no issues, your wife can sign it.
You've prepared this quite thoroughly.
It's my job.
Anyone who didn't know better might think you're the party involved.
My heart sank heavily. He was testing me.
Since you pay me such a high salary, isn't it normal for me to be proactive?
Is that so?
He put the document on the desk.
I'll take another look.